Hello and welcome to Writer Rant, author advice in 5 minutes or less because you have to get back to writing and so do I. And so this week I'd like to talk a little bit about young adult as a genre. And I know there are a lot of authors who they're like, oh, young adult. We love young adult mainly because they know they have a huge fan base. Like so many people love young adult as a genre. And, it's really kind of blown up in the last couple of decades thanks to books like, the Harry Potter series and the Hunger Games and the Divergent series and all those kind of ones. And so the more I read, and I don't particularly care for young adult, mainly because I'm not the target demographic. I'm not an actual young adult. And I think that's where a lot of people are kind of getting in trouble is that, they're writing stuff and it's like not everything is young adult. You can slap that name on it and, get a ton of sales, but is the content really appropriate for young adults? I've read at least a couple of books that consider themselves young adult, but there's sex in it. There's a lot of hard swearing in it, and it's like, wait a minute. Think back to yes, Harry Potter eventually got dark. It eventually got to the point where it was a little more, less childish, less young adult, if you will, and but it gradually got there over time as essentially the readership grew up with it. But you think of that first Harry Potter book, it's like these characters are kids. Like, that's who it's trying to relate to is the main characters. It's going to be 10-year-olds, tweens, those kind of characters. And so if you're just slamming them with, hey, you got these 18-year-olds and they're having sex and they're swearing up storms, it's like that's to me that doesn't feel like it's young adult. That feels more like the new genre that's kind of evolved out of that called new adult. And yeah, again, it's not necessarily the finding who you are as a lot of young adults are, but it's more, you're kind of settled and you're trying to figure out how to do life independently, kind of the stuff you deal with when you're out of being a teenager and kind of into your 20s and early 20s. And so, yeah, it's just knowing who your audience is, because even though your characters may be teenagers in the book, it's like if the content isn't meant for teenagers, like if you wouldn't let a teenager read this, then it's not young adult. So don't really market it as young adult when it should be new adult. And that's the thing, is like people are eating up new adult as well because they're like, oh hey, I can get that kind of same adventure type young adult story that I would normally get, but then I have the sex and the swearing to go with it. It's essentially the, oh hey, I grew up on young adult, I read it as a child, and now I'm older, so now I want the content to match. And so it's, yeah, you gotta be really careful with that because especially for parents who are buying these books for their children, it's like, hey, parents want, or they should want, their children to read. But if they're reading stuff that really isn't appropriate for their age, then the parents will probably stop and like, okay, hey, whoa, I'm not going to buy you any more books or any more young adult books if that's what's in them. So if anything, I guess I'm really kind of ranting about let's keep a purity kind of to the young adult genre. Again, not that I have anything to say about it because it's not really my genre. I don't really read a lot of it. So anyways, what do you think? What do you think about the whole young adult genre and kind of the explosion of books that fit into it or are trying to fit into it? Do you think it needs kind of defined standards? Do you think people should, be expanding out into new adult? Drop a comment below and let me know what you think. If there's anything else out there that you really don't like about the writing world right now, go ahead and drop a comment down below too, and I'll probably get to it in a future episode. Anyways, that's this week's Writer Rant, and I'm Benjamin M. Weilert.